Hello, hello. Today is Sunday, October 5th. It is 11:27 a.m. Central Time. So, going to do a quick weekly prep here and just kind of walk through everything. So, first thing is I like to look at dark pool levels that were printed on Friday on the Qs, and looks like we had, half a billion printed at the 603 level and another 100 million at the 605 level. So, I made sure to plot that. Nothing really, really crazy like we had this previous week where we had like actual billions at certain levels. And when we look at just the flow for Friday, bullish on the Qs, so not too bad. If we look at the flow for the week on the Qs, so it was bearish on the week, which is interesting, right? Um, but it starts to get bullish after Monday, and from there it starts to get bullish, even more bullish into um, into Thursday and the Friday, and super bullish on Friday. Well, not super bullish, but bullish since Tuesday, which is interesting. But it was mostly bearish from Monday, which means that there was a lot of bearishness on Monday, right? Um, I guess you don't like that, huh? Oh, now, and now it's broken. Well, so you saw that. So it went from bearish from Monday, if you included Monday, but then from Tuesday onward, it really turned bullish, which is interesting. Um, and so that's what things look like there. So quick look at the indexes and how everything performed. I think the interesting thing was NQ was the lagging one, right? Like ES pierced new highs, closed barely green. The Russell pierced new highs, close middle of the candle, and Dow broke new highs and closed pretty much middle of its candle, whereas the NQ was down for the day. But we did pierce. Looks like we did pierce. I think pre-market a new high. So there you go. But it also broke the low of the day and kind of went back to the HMA level. So there you go. Remove that little level. So I think it's a little bit risk off on growth tech stocks and rotating back into industrials and everything else. So it's interesting and maybe even broader market. So maybe cooling off on tech a bit, but still overall up. VIX still flat. I mean, kind of eking back up, but still relatively flat. Dollar relatively down, so just hanging out there, which is pretty good for NQ at least. Treasury note yields had that little close that gap, and now we're kind of going back down, which is good for the Qs. And then for the XLK, we had an outside day, but closed down below, kind of following the cues there. So I think for tech, a little bit weak. Well, I mean, relatively speaking, but not weak. If we look at the mega tech caps really quick, we had Apple, poise, pierced. It's really just hanging up. Here's kind of like a bullish flag pattern type thing. It looks like it's eking higher and higher there. Microsoft still kind of coiling, had that outside day, and now it's an inside day on Friday. So I think we're just deciding what to do here. Amazon, we made that high. It was poised up and then we kind of fell back over. So that doesn't seem too positive. We'll see. Google, just kind of pulling back and cooling off, but all these candles are green. So green, 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 green closes. So I feel like it wants up. Meta, going down, down, down. We'll see if if we even gap down below this. I'm curious if that'll happen during tomorrow, but that is definitely dragging us down, I think. Nvidia, kind of similar to the Qs, didn't quite make the high, but did break the low of yesterday. Closed red for the day, so it looks like we're cooling off. Tesla looks. I guess there was some delivery numbers, and I guess we didn't like it. I didn't really pay too much attention, but looks like we didn't really like it. We broke all the support from a couple weeks ago. And so we'll just see if that holds and kind of bounces us back up. And the Qs are the Qs. So yeah, I mean, I think for the NQ specifically, it looks like more cautiousness, a little bit more potential pullbacky cooling off this week, just based on how Friday closed. But we'll see. And for my chart itself, And if you haven't seen, I posted a video on this new indicator I created, which basically colors the candles based on the CVD. And so I'm giving that a shot. Um, for the dark pool levels that I talked about earlier before my little platform broke, they printed down here was the bigger one and then up here. And so I'm not sure what to make of this, but I'm definitely watching those levels there. And so we'll just see how that plays out. And then just kind of looking at the 1 hour footprints, there's some imbalance here at this 24 900s level. So definitely mark that. Some imbalance at this 24 860 level. And so it could be good support as we get back into those levels. And then, obviously I like this one, this level here or this previous top, and it broke. And you can kind of see people really tried to sell right here. They got trapped and we pushed back over and then we fell over. Um, so just kind of marking those and seeing how price reacts at that. We'll just kind of see. And I think for going into Monday, I will check pre-markets, but we are kind of at this dark pool level. So we'll just see if that is going to hold as support to kind of come back up to here. But if we open below, I'm definitely eyeing these for areas of either targets or potential support. But we'll see. I mean, maybe we gap down and break past all of that. Who knows? But for tomorrow going into it, I'm just looking at these levels here. So this 25.84, this 25.27, 24.980, 24.906, and then 24.860. So I'm just gonna see how price reacts there. I don't necessarily have a bias too much. I think maybe there's some consolidation. You just have to be open to both sides, only because the overall market is strong. Like ES is strong, the Dow, the Russell is strong. NQ is still up, right? But it's a little bit weaker, and so I think the market could drag us up. I don't know if the NQ by itself will drag everything down, so we'll just kind of see. We'll see how things kind of shake out there. And then as far as news and stuff, not too much tomorrow. I guess there's some trade balance stuff at 7:30 on Tuesday. Some crude oil stuff. Oh, we got some FOMC minutes. Yeah. Banking conference, Michigan sentiment. So I guess that's something to look forward to later in the week. So nothing too crazy. I know there's a bunch of earnings as well. And so we'll just kind of see how things kind of shake out there. Government's still shut down. So that's kind of what it is. I think I was asking our GPTs here what our outlook is. Neutral, so cautious, neutral tilt with bias favoring upside continuation. So that's what GPT says. Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't really give me too much of a. Yeah, I guess if we hold 24,900, then we'll go up. I guess that makes sense. Oh, if we break that, interesting. So pretty 24,900 seems to be a level that AI cares about. So I guess we'll watch that. So yeah, that's kind of what things look like. I will be back here in the morning for pre-markets, but I think going into the week, a little bit cautious, and I think maybe we'll just bounce around. It kind of feels like, but we'll just see what price looks like tomorrow and the next day. All right, well that's it for me. Talk to y'all later.